First time you open Wireshark, you'll see a start screen which should look like this. Now, as you can see, there's multiple sections to this welcome screen or start screen, open capture, and down here you've got learn. Now in open you'll see the list of capture files which you opened recently. This will be empty if you've only just downloaded it. In capture there's an option to define a capture filter. We'll be going into this in more detail later. Here in the capture filter you can specify only the traffic you want to capture in this particular session. Now below this you'll see a list of interfaces, and you can choose which interface you're going to capture traffic on. Normally you would see a zigzag type graph on any active interface. Now on this particular one there's no traffic showing. You can hover over it as well and you can see more detailed information. On the bottom in the Learn section you can see there's the online user guide. Well worth looking through that as well and reading it. Just read a section every day when you go through the relevant lessons. This will give you a lot more information and will include the kind of stuff they're asking in the exams. At the bottom you can see the current Wireshark version you've downloaded. Mine's 3.2.4. They regularly release updates, so you may see changes in the screen and obviously your version. Now this is the main screen for Wireshark. You've got multiple sections here. So if we start at the top, you can see a capture file. This is one we actually opened earlier, so we're not capturing live traffic at the moment. And you can see the file name is pcap. If you haven't opened a file earlier, then it will show you an interface name that you're capturing on. Now this is the main menu at the top, and it'll look familiar if you've ever used any type of program, file edit, view, etc. So first, the file, you can see you can open up a file here, normally one that you've saved earlier or one that you've downloaded. There's a handy recent tab here that you can choose from to save you having to search in various folders and files. You can also merge two different capture files. You can close also if you want. You can save your file as any particular name you so choose. Generally it's something related to the type of capture, for example HTTPS. You can export various packets of interest. If you so choose, you can mark packets also. We're going to be covering various options as we go through labs, by the way. I know we haven't covered every single one. You can also print the packet details. Last option is obviously quit, which would shut down the current capture session. Go to the edit, you can copy. This is pertaining to packets, obviously. You've got various options there, plain text, YAML, CSV. You can find a particular packet also, and you could put a filter in there to specify the type of packet you're looking for. You could type some text here or a string if you're familiar with the syntax. which we'll obviously be going through in subsequent lessons. That will search for packets that match that certain string. You can mark and then unmark packets. This is if you want to drill down to a particular conversation or a packet type. And then you can choose what to do with those marked packets. You can also add comments to your packets. You can obviously save it and let another engineer look at those packets if you so wish. Now you can also define profiles, configuration profiles. Currently there's a default profile here, and you can go on to create your own. And this is just an overview of the menu system, by the way. We'll go into more of these features later on in later labs. Preferences will be going back to several times. It changes a number of options of how you capture and how Wireshark appears. These options change over time, so you'll see options appear and disappear, and you may not have all the options depending on if you're using Linux, Mac or Windows. So you can see, for example, columns here. You can see a number of columns. And if you look at the background to this window, you can see that it matches on our current layout. You can change the fonts and colors, you can change the order and appearance of all the panes. This is obviously personal preference, and it's also handy to filter out things that just aren't relevant to your particular session on Wireshark. Packet list, packet details, packet bytes, depending on what information you want to show. As you clicked on these, you see different a different appearance in your main capture window. So this is the various options that match. As you click on each button, you can see the subsequent match in the capture window. You can change the order as per your requirements and also tick and untick various parts of the window. Under capture, you can see your default interface. There's other settings for capturing as well, which you can tick or untick. We'll go to name resolution. You can choose to resolve your MAC address or IP address, or even the layer 4 port numbers if you so wish. Just bear in mind that clicking these different options could generate an awful lot more output and traffic on your network because it needs to do the resolution. Go to the View menu. You can choose to hide or unhide specific toolbars. You can disable the main toolbar if you so wish. Handy to know when somebody's messed around with your settings or you've accidentally clicked something, or often you can do a keyboard shortcut, which many of us do in our Internet Explorer, whatever we use for browsers, or even our home screen, and suddenly the entire appearance just changes, which is quite annoying. So this is the place where you'd go to put it all back. Now I'll restore the main toolbar by clicking it because it's something we're going to be using an awful lot. You can colorize the conversation if you so wish. You can choose you can choose the default colors or change these colors also if you so wish. We'll be going through these later on, as I said. If you want to resize your columns for your personal preference, you can do so here. Go menu, you can go to a particular packet. You can put in a packet number, for example, and drill all the way down. So I've put in a number just to choose a random one, and you can see it's gone straight down to the desired packet number, which in this instance is 10. Then in the packet details frame you can see the frame, the Ethernet wrapper, and the fact it's an ARP packet. You can start or stop capture here. This is also in the main toolbar. When you click on the fin, it's telling you to start. There's also an option to select your interface for capturing. Under Analyze, you can select Display Filters. Apply as a filter. If you find any protocol that's showing as unknown in your capture, you can decode, and then you would see this output here. So you can see the port number. Under Statistics, there's a lot of options here. For example, you can see all these statistics for an IPv4 packet, IPv6 packet. This is where you spend most of your time, and also obviously the TCP and UDP streams. So you get all the details by clicking on this option. Telephony is obviously for your voice over IP stuff, RCP and other protocols there. You can decode a voice call. Easier when you download a voice packet from the Wireshark wiki that you can analyze. Wireshark, you can capture wireless traffic. You can define the firewall and ACL here also. You can use a Lua script to analyze or evaluate your packets. And then when you go into help, obviously there's a bunch of stuff here. You can get help. You can go to the Wireshark wiki where there's loads of handy packets that you can download that have already been captured for you. The manual, the Wireshark website. Sample captures is very handy, and I recommend you spend a lot of time downloading and analysing extra packets. Check for updates, especially if there's a bug that needs fixing. You can check your about, which is full of useful information, such as your current version. And there's several other options there as well. We'll go into those as we go along now. So you'd click in the on the blue fin to start capturing traffic. You already saw we can choose options, which is 3 across to the right if you wanted to change your interface. As you start, as long as it's a live interface, Wireshark will start capturing packets. So this is where the packets will appear on a live capture. And when you want to stop, you click the red square. So I'll open a recent and you can see there's a capture already happened here. You press the button to stop the capture and you can restart the capture using this button here. And you can choose your interface, define a capture filter. You can open a capture file by clicking on the folder option. You can also save the capture file using this button after your capture is over, so it's not actually live at the moment. Obviously, as you hover over the buttons, it also tells you what the options are. Find a packet, and again you just need to put in a string here. You can go to previous packet, next packet. You can go to a specific packet of interest if you so wish. This is the option to automatically scroll to the last packet during the live capture. There's an option to automatically scroll to the last packet. Otherwise, you wouldn't see the last packet captured, it would stay in the first. If you want, you can enlarge the main window, shrink it back to normal size, reset to normal size, and you can resize your packet list columns to fit the contents. Now there's a filter toolbar just underneath where you can apply a filter to the list of your captured packets. So this would be where you'd zoom into a particular type of protocol or service. This window is divided into three parts. The first is a packet list pane. Below that you have the packet details pane, and then you have the packet bytes pane, where you're broken down into the hexadecimal values. This packet list pane is different columns. First is the number, so it's the number of frames are numbered as they arrive at the interface. So these are arranged and sorted based on the number. This is the time of arrival for the packets and the time of capturing the packets. You can drag and move these as per your individual wishes. You've got the source and destination, showing you the IP address, communication and conversation between two different IP addresses. So if the protocol, just taking an example, is ARP, there won't be an IP address there. Instead you'll have MAC addresses. Hopefully you've read up on how ARP works in any Network Plus book, but this is a layer 2 transaction. You can see protocol here under the protocol column. There's obviously a large number of possible options in here. You can arrange per protocol if you just click on that column, top to bottom, bottom to top. This is just a quick and dirty way of rearranging your captcha. And then obviously go back to the numbers column if you wanted it back to the default setting. Length column is showing the length of the packet or frame. This includes the length of the header. Over to the info column, it shows some basic information about the captured packet. Below that is the packet details pane, which is showing you a layered output matching the OSI layer. If you click on any arrow there, it expands. So you can click on your chosen packet up in the packets pane, and then go down into the details section where you could click on individual sections of that particular packet or frame. So you can analyze all the way from layer 2 to up to layer 7, depending on the packet type. Many of these fields will be familiar to you if you've studied TCP/IP in any detail. Last is your packets byte pane, which displays the hexadecimal and binary data. This is if you really had to do a deep dive. This is where you would see passwords displayed if you're capturing passwords in clear text as part of a security audit. It was worth clicking on all of these fields just to see what the output is and how it changes. In the taskbar, you've got the expert information feature. It'll give you here, if you click, details of the packets. You can see any errors, warnings, as per the automatic analysis of Wireshark. So it could give you an idea of where there's a particular issue on a network or protocol or service. Also click here to get the details of the capture file, the size of the packet and the capture file. There's a lot of information in here, as you can see. So as you can see, it's showing the counter packets. This is the total counter packets. Besides showing that it's displayed, so currently we haven't put any filter. Now if I apply a filter, you can see it goes from pink, like a reddish pink, to green. That means you've matched the correct allowable filter. Now it's 87.9% of total packets match this particular filter here. This shows in the bottom part of your screen. This is the default configuration profile that we're using at the moment, and you can change this. We briefly looked at it earlier. Set this packet, you can choose to decide what you want to do with the packet. Whole bunch of options here. If you want to filter, then you can apply as a filter. Then click on selected. And you can see it automatically creates a filter in the filter toolbar and changes the list of packets displaying. So it's showing you the packets related to this IP address. You can see it's IP.source, so it's the source IP. You can put comments on your packets, handy if you're going to come back to it later or send to another engineer for analysis. I'll clear that filter and press enter. Alright, so we've just done a general helicopter view of Wireshark. We're obviously going to be diving into a whole bunch of different features. We've looked at the capture interfaces, the screen settings, various parts of the menu, and this is just to give you a little bit of confidence to how it works, how it looks, the different menu options available, and the different parts of the screen. These are all things that you can also be asked in the exam, where, for example, to find expert information, what does the packet pane, packet capture window show. Please have a go in your own time and click in all the different options. You won't break anything because you can just reset to your default configurations as you saw. Hover over all of the icons, and we'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.